burst onto the scene. He has been a part of many firsts in this Baylor program, including this year, taking the team to its first ever #1 ranking. Baylor has played 2 matches since that loss to Texas, and they have lost 3 of the 8 total sets they've lost all season. So we're all anxious to see how Baylor plays with no more room for error. Bam Schreiber to serve. She's a defensive specialist from Plano, Texas. These 2 teams have already met earlier this year, and if you've been watching soccer, we welcome you inside the Farrell Center, where Iowa State is looking to pull off the biggest win of its season today against former #1 ranked Baylor University. Baylor comes in ranked #3 in the nation, but #1 in the RPI. First kill of the match delivered by the Bears. I'm Sam Gorlong with Jennifer Hoffman. Baylor was the last undefeated team at the Division I level and have put together quite a resume to this point in the season. They only lost to Texas, but they've lost 3 sets since dropping that sweep in Austin. Point Iowa State.
You see Annie Hatch there with the high hands, and Baylor needs to make sure that their defense, since they've set up a solid block, needs to make sure they're playing perimeter and guiding those inlines.
Iziena put the ball in play. Vandermark, who is out of the Netherlands. Her family lives in Connecticut now, but she hopes to one day be a Dutch Olympian. She is 6'6", her dad is 6'8", her mom's 6'3", and her brother Bart is 6'10", and still growing. Overpass. Presley is long on the attack. One of the most dynamic outside hitters in college volleyball. Yassiana Presley missing in her first attempt.
And you see that out-of-system ball delivery. Nice high hands, good solid approach. Just a poor angle decision from Presley on that attack.
Baylor swept Iowa State earlier this season in Ames, but 2 of the 3 sets were very close. In fact, Iowa State had a chance to win this one of the sets. Little mistimed set there by Mock. Point to Baylor.
And that is something that Iowa State needs to make sure that they zero in on, is to establish the middle presence first off, first tempo. You see that Avery Rhodes could not connect there with Mock.
Service error by Presley. Presley with 8 aces this season. She's a 6 rotation player, so she stays on the floor at all times, never rotates out. Mock is the setter with a good serve. She's one of their better setters. And Presley's having a little bit of trouble getting going here, Jennifer.
And that specific play, that was all about communication. You see Milana comes in to want to aggressively attack that ball. Someone needs to open their mouth and say that they're going to take that 3rd ball over.
That'll work. McGee. Baylor 18-1. They're #3 in the rankings, #1 in the RPI. They were #1 for 4 consecutive weeks. Stafford out of the middle, ties the score at 5.
And you see that was kind of a trap set. They're really forcing the ball into the Iowa State middles. You see Rhodes again not being able to position that ball and get around it.
Nice swing on the right side by Iowa State. That was Piper Mock. So Iowa State up by 1 here in this opening set of a 3 out of 5 set match in Waco. And really no more room for error for this Baylor Bear team. They need to win out to continue to try to stay at the top of the RPI and the rankings and have hopes to host a regional here in Waco. There's number 15 in red. That is Avery Rhodes. She's actually from Waco and has a lot of family and friends here. Locken serving. She's the setter for Baylor. Well, Vandermark's been pretty lethal on that right side.
And you're exactly right, Sam. They need to make sure, Iowa State needs to make sure that they're playing the proper angles. You see that for Iowa State, Annie Hatch needs to pull that block in and kind of funnel the ball directly to the defense in position 1.
Vandermark's got 3 kills on 4 swings. And a second kill by Annie Hatch, a freshman from Mesa, Arizona, who had originally committed to Northern Arizona. Her brother JT is a professional volleyball player in Germany. He played collegiately at UCLA. Mikhail Schuler, the libero, serving for Iowa State. And there's what they paid to see. Presley hammering the attack.
And a high flyer, Presley. They really need to make sure that the timing on the block, you never want to jump exactly with how Presley attacks because you're never going to reach the height of the net. But as you can see with those angles, for especially a player like Vandermark on the right side, angles are crucial.
There's an ace by Bam Schreiber. Bam Schreiber from, again, Plano, Texas, in the starting lineup after an injury hampered her freshman season. She is a real catalyst out there, too. A lot of energy. In fact, that's one thing that impressed me the most about this Baylor team is, again, a kill comes from the middle, and Stafford was the support they seem to have for one another.
And it started with the pass for Baylor. You see that Stafford is available to her setter. What an efficient attack and a swing right into the defense.
Locken put up a nice ball for her. Locken again with a set. Presley getting going after a couple of errors to start. Yassiana Presley with 2 quick kills.
And you see Yassiana holds that position as though she was going to angle that ball cross court, but she uses the high hand of the hold house blocker going straight to line.
Baylor is starting to distance itself, leading by 4, 11-7 here in the opening set. Timeout, Iowa State. We're in the Farrell Center, a place where Baylor is still undefeated. They were the last overall undefeated team in the nation this year before Texas beat them on October 23rd. Hey, I'm Sam along with Jennifer. And Jennifer, a lot of people wondering the frame of mind Baylor's in right now after that loss so late in the season to their rival Texas.
Well, they have really been clicking on all cylinders so far in this match. Iowa State really needs to clean up the serve receive because Holthouse has only had 1 attack, and that's not something that can be ran for Iowa State's offense.
Holthouse trying to attack for Iowa State. And Presley, again, she was slow to start, but has come on strong. 3 straight kills for Presley.
And you see Herrera jumps with Stafford, which is a phenomenal opportunity to spread that ball to Presley with a single block. She moves around it.
You mentioned jump. Presley's vertical is 10 feet 9 inches. She is a skywalker.
And just imagine that with a single block, being able to maneuver around the hands, right or left.
Baylor has now won the last 6 points to surge ahead 12-7. Bam Schreiber, good serving run here, and another ace. That is her second ace. And again, it prompts Iowa State to take a timeout. Well, earlier today, in case you missed it on one of our earlier matches, the NCAA selection show was so kind, or selection committee was so kind to reveal their top 10 seeds to this point if the tournament were to start today, so if we began the NCAA tournament today, here are your top 10 out for the Cyclones. So in essence, Baylor must keep winning to stay up at the top of that seeding list and stay there when the pairings come out. Of course, you want to be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament because the top 4 seeds coming out of the first and second rounds will host regionals. And you'd also get to host your first and second round matches as well. So that's why the top 4 seeding is so coveted in Division I volleyball, because it gives you the chance to host a regional. Hatch, another successful attack.
And Annie Hatch does a good job of trying to find the seam of the block, even though maybe that's a freshman mentality, because it's not always going to be there, especially with a blocker like Vandermark. Vandermark was a little bit too far to the left side of the hitter. That's why Annie Hatch was able to get that kill.
Well, that was a good serve by Anna, but it ended up not mattering because of the firepower of Baylor.
You put the ball into Presley's hands, and you just wait and see what happens. She does add a lot of shots to her repertoire, but when she has the ability to get that kill, she terminates the ball.
Presley's up to 4 kills. Remember, she averages 5.5 kills a set. That's second in the nation. Holdhouse with the attack. And waiting on the call, it's going to be Iowa State's point, so Holdhouse will get the kill here.
And you see that out of system back row attack. We're wondering if there was a challenge.
Well, the call was overruled. One of the judges had called it in, the other called it out. And so now they have reversed the call and given it the point to Baylor.
I believe the R1 was overruled by the R2, which the R2 has a better angle. The down ref has a better angle as to where, especially on that sideline.
In volleyball, the R2 that she's referring to is the official on the court. The R1 is the official up on the net stand. And you're right, that official on the court appropriately called that out after initially it was called good. So point to Baylor. It's 17-9 in this opening set. Baylor hitting .474 in the first set. Quick set and a nice finish by Candelaria Herrera. We may see her in an Olympics one time. Number 17 in red. She is on the Argentine national team.
And Mock did a good job of keeping Herrera in the front, not necessarily pulling her behind the set on a slide. Baylor's blockers were not ready.
Hunt in to serve receive there. Point Baylor. This set going to 25, win by 2. The first 4 sets do. If we get to a 5th set, it's to 15, win by 2. Presley is a potential first-team All-American. She was unanimous first-team All-Big 12 last year. One of the more dynamic volleyball players in the country.
I don't really think we need to say potential. I think that she's got a lock in for a first-team All-American.
Maybe Player of the Year. I mean, she's putting up National Player of the Year numbers.
I mean, the offense, we talked about it earlier, the offense coming from her. She has, on the season so far, 731 total attacks. That equates to about 3 of her teammates on the floor.
Nice attack by number 6 in red, Eleanor Holdhouse. She's instant offense for the Cyclones. She's their only 6 rotation player. Preseason All Big 12 member as well. That's the back of Piper Mock, the setter. Baylor's setter, Locken, trying to take it over, and a long on that attempt.
If she gets that going, if Locken perfects that opportunity to push the second ball towards the deep corners, it's going to drive the defense crazy.
Good serve. Herbst. Good dig by Presley, and now she wants to attack. Holdhouse misses that attack. Point to Baylor, and Iowa State struggling in the hitting percentage department. This has been a pretty good hitting Iowa State team this year. They've averaged 250 per match, but they are hitting just 120 here in the opening set.
Well, I don't think Iowa State right now, especially in this first set, is playing with any type of urgency. They need to make sure that they're cleaning up their offense. And right now, the passes are going a little bit out of sorts, and their defense is really just delivering out-of-system balls to Holthaus.
Pancake, Hunt got under it, nice save. And ultimately the point going to Iowa State. It's a nice play by Brea Hunt.
And they believe that the ball was down. Looked good to me.
Tooling the block, Gia Milana from Romeo, Michigan, number 77 for Baylor.
Gia Milana does a good job of allowing the ball to travel even out of system, stepping back, making sure that she has a proper angle, and using the high line and high hands of Holthaus.
Blocking, serving. And Holthaus tooling the block to side out for Iowa State. That lefty attack by Vandermark. Good defense by Iowa State, and a double contact called against the Cyclones, so the point goes to Baylor.
Super tough call for Piper Mock in that situation after a good defensive ball picked up by Centeno. You get that double contact. Again, Iowa State not playing with a sense of urgency, but Baylor is just taking care of business.
Baylor seems to be getting back to their old ways, especially here in the opening set. They were a little shell-shocked by Texas, but this program prides itself on integrity and character, and they have certainly fought back. Ryan McGuire is one of those coaches. He's just the kind of guy that you just want to sit around and talk about life with. He has such a refreshing perspective. He believes in leading through servanthood. So you'll see him loading bags onto buses and shagging balls for his players. It's a nice culture here at Baylor. There's a very servant-type mentality where everyone is looking out for the interest of each other as opposed to themselves. Vandermark with the point for the Bears, and it is set point Baylor. A quick start to this match for the Bears at home. They have not lost here in the Farrell Center, 9-0. Was it touched? No. Point and set to Baylor. So the Bears come out ripping. Ryan McGuire's got to be happy with that first set, as Baylor hits 400 in the opening set with 15 kills and just 3. Those teams in that top 10 reveal could definitely shift.
And you look at that top 10 reveal, again, nothing set in stone, but you're also taking into consideration that a couple of those teams are playing without some of their star power. Committee does not take that into consideration at all. One of those teams being Stanford, still reeling off a couple of wins and moving forward.
Holthaus was brave there. She tried to block Presley, but Presley tooled the block and got the kill for the Bears.
And the only thing that needs to be adjusted for Holthaus to really pin in on Presley, as you see her try to create a shot, that's one of the things that she's adding to her repertoire, is not just always considering to terminate the ball. She's really looking to place the ball, but Holthaus needs to bring that block in a little bit more.
Josie Herbst, senior from Davenport, Iowa. She's the only senior on the team this year. Vandermark finds the mark. The Flying Dutchwoman.
And let's talk about the delivery from Hannah Locken. You see that ball You see the position of where Locken is. She is placing that ball to the left side. She shoots that ball back to Vandermark with a no block, straight down line.
Vandermark, another good serve. Point Iowa State. Iowa State swept by Baylor on October 9th, but they actually had a couple of set points in that match. They had a chance to win the first and third sets against the Bears. They had a 7-match win streak earlier this year, which Texas ended. In the new RPI, Iowa State is 35. So in theory, if the tournament were to begin tomorrow, Iowa State would be getting an at-large bid, and certainly a win over Baylor would solidify that.
And you see on that block there, Presley really needs to turn that left hand in instead of just pressing straight over to direct that ball inside the court if she wants that block to go down.
Service error on Schuler gives Presley the chance to fire from the service line. She had 39 kills at Iowa State last season. That was a Baylor record. A lot of these Bears, if you look at their stats, Jennifer, have played some of their best matches against Iowa State.
And again, we talked about it in the first set for Iowa State. I feel the energy shift a little bit. They're playing with a better sense of urgency, as you see Kara McGee for Baylor could not close that block, and Annie Hatch getting that kill.
Milana getting a kill of her own. The thing about Baylor, though, to me, Jennifer, is that we talk so much about Presley, but there's a lot of players on this Baylor team that can win you matches. It's
Absolutely.
not just Presley.
And you cannot forget about those players, especially a player like Milana. She is on the outside, and she hits just a heavy of a ball. You look at the athleticism of a Presley, and that's what you see is exciting. But a player like Milana can really terminate the ball.
Piper Mock winning that joust at the net after another sensational pancake dig by Hunt. Iowa State up one here in the second. Oh!
How about that? That could have easily been an in-system ball. Nice, easy left side out to Milana. But how about the approach? It's almost like a 2-ball right in front, in the middle. Presley had everywhere on the court to go. As you see, she jumps from behind the 10-foot line into the court.
That was Jordan-esque.
It was beautiful volleyball.
And Vandermark with the stuff block.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily call that a trap set delivered from the setter, Piper Mock. I would call that a brilliant adjustment from Vandermark with the feet starting and pressing in.
They will be playing Texas very shortly, in fact, and they will play Texas here at home. So everyone is circling that match. Baylor has to just continue to stay focused on the task at hand before they get to Texas. That Texas match is on November 20th. It'll be here in Waco.
And again, you see Milana this time on the right side of the court, really pushing that ball right down the seam. As you see Rhodes just shuffling, she doesn't do her best to make sure that she is out and closed with her left side hitter. Milana takes advantage of that.
Milana has just rotated out. Bam Schreiber back to serve. She's been so good behind the line, and that continues. Bam Schreiber is serving so efficiently in this match. That was her third ace of the match.
Now Iowa State has 2 hitters to worry about as Baylor makes the adjustment on their offense. So Vandermark and Presley are both in the front row together this time.
Presley was in the net. Point Iowa State. And Coach McGuire is going to challenge that call.
Locken having 2 dominant hitters to be able to choose on who to deliver this set. You see that Vandermark on the right side, Presley on the left. Good options.
Vandermark with 7 kills. She's leading the match. She's got 1 more than Presley. Presley with a touch.
And again, we talk about it. that Baylor has so many offensive weapons that it's not necessarily always going to be Presley to deliver the ball.
There was double contact on the delivery from Baylor. The point given to Iowa State. It cuts into the Baylor lead. Herbst back to serve. Another high-flying attack. You know, Jennifer, she said when she goes up, all she's thinking about is hitting the ball as hard as she can.
And there you see from Iowa State that Avery Rhodes jumps with the middle, which rightfully so, to keep the block. But you do not want to leave a hitter like Presley with a single block, as you see, Rhodes.
Yeah, I was laughing at Rhodes' reaction, her teammate, after that, like, whoa.
Well, there is absolutely nothing that Holthouse can really do on an attack like that. She needs to make sure that she is aggressively going for the ball with a hitter like Presley.
Good block. Point Baylor.
And that could have been detrimental to Baylor, as you see Holthouse go underneath the net inadvertently. But what a scary, scary idea to think of an injury happening to Presley.
Yeah, they both they hit their feet there under the net.
Very scary.
Vandermark ready to rip it. I mean, Presley she's so fast to the ball, Jennifer.
She's quick, she's dynamic, and the approach, her vertical, is above anyone else in this gym. So what Iowa State could do to easily make that adjustment is not necessarily jump with Presley. They need to make sure that they're waiting a little bit and then pressing and blocking.
Yassiana Presley is one of the elite athletes in the nation, an incredible student athlete here at Baylor. So much fun to watch. She is from Cypress, Texas. She just moved to the outside hitting position during the 2017 season. Second in the nation in kills, and she had 39 of them against Iowa State last year. Presley is one of those players who's very vocal with her teammates as well. She's loves the leadership position that she's been put into. She says if she gets blocks, she just turns around and laughs because she knows she's going to get them next time.
And that's a great
She's
attitude
a gamer.
of a high-level player. She is definitely a gamer, not really taking on those mistakes and thinking about them. Moving on to the next. She's fast for the game.
Yeah, Schuler just got the ace here for Iowa State. That is Schuler's 22nd ace of the season. She leads Iowa State in that category. Man, good serve. The radar gun on that. There's a stuff in the middle by 17, Candelaria Herrera. Again, the future Argentine Olympian.
But you have to notice how far off of the net Presley is in an out-of-system ball. Reaching higher instead of still trying to aim towards the center of the court is ideal.
Overpass. Nice block by the setter, locking for Baylor. And Baylor ends up winning that rally. When that ball approached the net, I thought for sure it was a point for Iowa State.
You hear the double contact. Really unfortunate, especially getting those hard-driven balls up and really setting yourself on serve receive as well.
Hunt, what a good defensive match she's played so far. That's Hunt right there getting that dig. She has the long pants on. Back row attack by Brooke Anderson, a sophomore from Wisconsin who's been inserted into the Cyclones lineup.
And in that sequence, Iowa State did a good job of playing perimeter defense, making sure they're guarding the edge of the court. A lot of those balls were deflected off of high hands, so playing deeper in defense is crucial.
Presley hammers it, but the block is there. Milana reloads.
What a phenomenal decision by Milana. Everything in her body said that she was going to try to put this ball off of the right hand of her outside. As you see Presley there out of the back row. But Milana angles that ball, cuts it sharp to position 4.
Milana is one of those players easy to pull for. She's overcome 2 career-threatening injuries. She's had extensive surgeries. Started her career at Maryland. That is touched by Baylor, so the point goes to Iowa State.
Wolf in position 5 for Baylor. Needs to make sure that the block is doing a good job of funneling a lot of the balls to the defensive end for Baylor. She needs to move back a little bit to take those high hands.
Milana, good dig in the back row by Enna to keep it alive. It's still alive, and finally, Shelly Stafford can celebrate the kill.
And you see Shelly Stafford on her first opportunity to go behind the setter, utilizing that slide and the single block.
Stafford, formerly Shelly Fanning, married Samuel Stafford last May in Costa Rica. Tooling the block, 6 in red, Eleanor Holthouse. Point Iowa State. Iowa State hitting .318 in this set after a subpar first set, but no answer for Milana on that attack.
Milana looks really, really good from the right side of the court, making sure that she is hitting that sharp angle, going deep in some of her attacks.
They know how to celebrate at Baylor. I'm impressed with the celebration skills of the Bears.
You've got to love the energy. It's what you have a player like Presley that brings that dominating factor that really can control the match, and you have added points and players like Vandermark on the right side, and you have Gia Milana who comes and steps up. So if Baylor were to get their middles involved, this would be a dynamic offense to really contend to.
That was a good serve, and Presley finds the opening in the defense quickly.
Now, if I were Iowa State, honestly, full disclosure, Avery Rhodes, I would make sure there's a double block on Presley at all times. I would just let Stafford have her points if it is an option, but you have got to stop a player like Presley.
Is it possible to put a double block on her, though?
It is absolutely possible if you don't worry necessarily about your middle hitter. If you want to play point for point and you want to play defense and you want to worry about your hitter only, I would still just shift that blocker.
Presley is one of those athletes that just seems to be unstoppable when she's at her best.
And that's also the opportunity that you throw everything at her, including the kitchen sink, to try and stop her.
Vandermark with too much firepower. We'll go back to serve. Baylor leads 18-16. The Bears won the opening set. They're hitting .417. Excuse me, that number just jumped to .440 after that successful attack. .418 for the match.
Incredible accuracy, incredible efficiency for Baylor.
And this is a very good Iowa State team as well. Hatch siding out for the Cyclones. This is a team we expect to see in the field of 64. They finished third or better in the Big 12 for each of the past 10 seasons. Iowa State is a model of consistency. But again, Baylor's lost only 8 sets all season. And the attack by the setter, Locken.
Hannah Locken, not necessarily an aggressive setter, but that is something that Coach McGuire is wanting to add to the Baylor Bears offense, is getting her a little bit more involved, making sure that she's doing it at the right time, not just taking the second ball over without a conscience, but doing it at the right time.
Interesting, Jennifer, because he said about Locken, his setter, 14 in white, that he wants her to lead the team in hitting percentage as a setter.
And that is just adding to the depth of your offense. If you have a second ball that can get the defense of your opponent out of kilter.
Presley with a service error. to break a little momentum that had been built by the Bears.
As you see us there, it's all right, my bad.
3 service errors on Baylor so far this afternoon, 1 on Iowa State. Iowa State still very much in this second set as Kate Shannon from Waterloo, Iowa delivers the ace. Shannon making her first appearance in the match and makes it count, her 10th of the season. She's just a freshman.
Iowa State did a good job of serving the gap there, having Hunt and Wolf make a decision on who's going to pass it.
Millant had to go around Hunt for that attack. Nice block by McGee.
McGee doing a good job of transitioning with her hitter, respectively, as you see a nice defensive play by Iowa State, but forcing that ball into Herrera.
Wolf back to serve. Baylor clinging to a 1-point advantage, trying to take a 2-0 lead. They do take a brief intermission in the Big 12 at the conclusion of the second set. We'll break down more of those top 10 seeds that the NCAA selection committee revealed today. If the tournament were to end or were to begin tomorrow, we have our top 10 seeds. Candelaria with the kill, and it is 20-all.
You gotta appreciate the hustle play by Presley and Wolf and Hunt to get that ball over and to recover, but a good decision to deliver that ball to Herrera to put that ball away. First tempo.
Enna to serve.
A little bit of a fake out.
Yeah. Wolf gonna set Milana. And Milana goes high hands, tools the block, and delivers for the Bears.
Gia Milano extremely patient in that out of system high ball coming to her. You see her waiting, and her last 2 approach steps, really dynamic. Holthouse really could have used her hands on that defensive ball.
Dangerous time here for Iowa State. Nice save by Holthouse. She punched it. And Vandermark crushes another.
And just look at the body language of Iowa State, because there is no answer for Vandermark on the right side. You see her in dominating fashion, putting that ball right between the seam of a block.
Baylor just attacks you so fast, Jennifer.
And with Vandermark standing at about 6'5", you need to establish and really anticipate that she's going to contact the ball at a very, very high level. So closing in that block, Anderson could not handle it.
6'5", lefty, fast, a lot of intangibles for her.
No answer.
Family, as a lot of the volleyball players do.
Of the spectrum.
Be interesting to see how her life shakes out. She's just a freshman from San Antonio, and Baylor is 3 points away from taking a 2-0 lead. We'll see if the Iowa State timeout translates into something good for the Cyclones. And it does right away. Side out. That was an attack by number 5, Brooke Anderson.
And Brooke Anderson coming in, you see her move a little bit away from the pin, not necessarily pushing that ball out to where an established Baylor block is, and moving around.
Herrera almost had an ace. Good save by Locken. And the block is there. I believe that was mostly Shelley Stafford. 5 in white. Milana was next to her, though.
Absolutely, and you see the chest bump, the excitement, the energy. As a blocker, you definitely want to make sure you shut down your attackers, and you see Stafford right there, the epitome of a block. Squared hips, squared shoulders, ball down.
Baylor 2 points away. Baylor needs to keep winning to keep its hopes alive, to host a regional, to be a top 4 seed. It is set point Baylor. This would give the Bears a 2-0 lead in the match. They've only lost 8 sets this season, but 6 of them have been since October 23rd. Kill by Iowa State. The Cyclones are still spinning. It remains set point for Baylor. Good. The ace by Piper Mock.
And that's something that you never want to do. You never want to duck, especially on serve receive. And you see Tara Wolf ducking, not necessarily traveling with the ball and making sure that it's out.
The last set point for Baylor for the moment. Vandermark. And Iowa State has erased 3 set points to tie the score.
And that's what I was talking about in the first set. Iowa State not playing with a sense of urgency. They've battled back here, as you can see them tie up this second set, but they've got the momentum. Baylor's kind of on their heels.
As the match has progressed, not gone down. 24 all. Presley delivers.
And that's who you want to get the ball. They were forcing the previous passes out of system, but you have got to know that in a crucial moment that ball is going to be delivered to Presley.
Stafford serving at set point. Side out Iowa State. How about Anderson here in the back half of the second set?
Anderson got Baylor caught watching and seeing what was happening. Tara Wolf not on the floor at the moment time for Baylor.
She's recovered from a fractured back. 25 apiece, win by 2 for the second set. Baylor won the first. Overpass. What a rally. And Iowa State has set point.
How about both sides?
Set, Baylor won the first. And a service error. We're tied at 26.
And if I were Baylor, I would serve to her.
Anderson
she's thinking about that serve.
She's done so much right today in this match. Vandermark's going to rotate out. Bree Coleman, a sophomore from Valencia, California, will come in to serve. She comes in occasionally as a serving specialist. Holdhouse is blocked by Presley.
How beautiful was that block? You see her teammates saying, oh my God. There was nowhere for Holdhouse to go.
Another set point for Baylor. And Iowa State saves yet another. Rhodes rotates out after getting the block.
You kind of want to think about that decision making by Piper Mock, though. Granted, Iowa State and Holdhouse got that kill, but after a block like that, you don't want to put the ball back over on the side of Presley.
Another good serve by Schuler. She is a skywalker.
There's absolutely nothing else we can say about how dynamic she is. Holdhouse is waiting, wondering what she's going to do. You see the reaction of her teammates.
Hey, Karch, are you watching this? Might have an Olympian here one day. And Baylor finally can claim victory in the second set. What a fun end to the set as Iowa State fought back so valiantly. But in the end, the talent of Baylor rises, and the Bears secure a 2-0 lead heading into intermission. That was fun, Jennifer.
Absolutely. Again, hitting at 400. Team like Baylor's hard to stop. Being up the serve receive, but they've got to distribute the ball a little bit better. Not a lot of delivery to the middles for Iowa State to really keep Baylor on their toes.
Baylor is 6th in the nation in hitting percentage, and their normal average is .285. They're hitting .400 today as Bramschreiber serves to start set number 3. Baylor looking for the sweep. Again, they've only lost 8 sets the entire season, and this is their 20th match of the year. Opening point, no surprise, Holdhouse wins it for Iowa State.
And you see in her first attempt, she switched it up. It's not always a hard, heavy, hard-driven ball into the middle of the court. You gotta make sure you're mixing it up with some shots and some tips in there.
Schuler, I enjoy watching her serve. She's got a fantastic serve. Back row attack, it is out just wide in the back corner.
I like how Baylor has come out and making sure that they're following the ball out anywhere it goes, really moving their feet and establishing a presence all over the court.
Stafford, who's in grad school right now, pursuing a master's in sports management with the ace. Her career goal is to one day become an athletic director, and she hopes that'll be after she plays professional volleyball.
And you see that Baylor did not get a lot of production out of McGee in the middle, so they implemented another strong middle, Nicole Thomas. And you'll see her get a lot of attacks. I saw them in practice yesterday. She works the hardest on the floor out of everybody, really making sure that she is available to her setter.
See if it transfers into some production. Pretty hard to get production when you have a player like Presley swinging on the outside. She's up to 12 kills now. And
you've seen this play a couple of times from the Baylor offense. They bring their middle in front of the setter to make sure that the opponent's middle, jumps with them, and then Presley has an open net.
That is the 6th service error on the Bears today. Vandermark finding the net with that serve. Presley's 6 feet tall, but has a vertical jump of almost 11 feet. 10 feet 9 inches. She literally flies through the sky. She doesn't just jump high, she hangs there.
And if you want any reference as to what that means, as you see Nicole Thomas again, hard-working middle coming in and making a huge impact for Baylor. If you want a reference as to where Presley touches, it's about the tip of the top of the antenna. As you see Nicole Thomas go directly into position 1, her strongest angle, and put that ball away.
Thomas is a senior. Answering on the other side is Candelaria Herrera. She will be going with her team. Herrera, 17 in red, will be going with Argentina to the Olympic qualifying tournament in January. They're still working out the logistics of getting her to Colombia for that Olympic qualifier. That's Candelaria with the service area.
And what a very difficult error to make. Such a wide serve. It's you kind of wonder where her mentality was to really almost put that ball to the coaches.
So Herrera rotates out. Another good dig by Hunt. Miscommunication there on the Bear side. And Iowa State takes advantage.
I actually think Gia Milana and Tara Wolf tripped over each other, because at times, if you're a libero or a defensive specialist, you're not necessarily wanting or understanding the space that your attackers are really needing on the floor. So they collided into one another.
That's pushed out. Point Baylor.
Now, Sam, you and I have seen in other matches how you play such an aggressive and emotionally draining set. How is Iowa State going to rebound? Because they're making a lot of mental mistakes right now.
Well, it's that old adage, you played as well as you could and don't have anything to show for it. So how do you get yourself back out mentally to do it all over again? And that's what great teams are made of. So it's really a test of a team's character after something like that. Vandermark helping out the Cyclones with that attack into the antenna. We're tied at 6. Out of the middle, the hometown girl, Rhodes, from right here in Waco. Got a big roar from her friends and family that are here in the Farrell Center.
And Avery Rhodes, it could be said that she overran the ball because, as you can see, she was kind of waiting and then jumps off of 2 feet to still attack that ball.
Service error, and we are tied at 7. Again, Anderson missed the second half of last year with a fractured back. So fantastic to see her back on the floor competing.
And that's a second key service error as you see it.
It's contagious.
Going back and forth with the service errors.
7 errors on Baylor, 4 on Iowa State. Mikhail Schuler back to serve. And you definitely want to win the point here because Schuler's one of their best servers if you're Baylor. And they do that right away. So Schuler's only able to serve 1 point. And Baylor sides out. Stafford will rotate back to serve for the Bears. And it's Presley who gets the kill.
And it's almost like she's dunking the ball every time she swings because, as you can see, almost to the tip of the antenna is where she effectively and consistently contacts the ball.
Should not be the only woman to dunk a basketball here. Brittany Griner dunked a few when she was here at Baylor. And the women's basketball team has their national championship banner unveiled here at Baylor on Tuesday night. Both the men's and women's teams are ranked in the top 25 preseason. The women's team are as high as number 2 after winning the NCAAs last year. Blocked straight down by Herrera.
And if you notice, for Baylor, Vandermark takes a really quick approach. So that high ball is not something that she is used to. She really needs to wait until the ball gets and travels to the correct position in order for her to actually do something with it.
Shannon, the freshman, back into the match. She had a good appearance in that last set serving. She's a lefty, as you could tell there. Lefty gives you a little advantage when you're serving. Point, Iowa State. Mock can claim it.
And even in that sequence, you see Thomas and Presley going up for the same ball. At the end of the day, the middle is who controls the net. So that should have been Thomas's ball. She should have been all over it.
Shannon's had 1 ace. That was every bit as good as an ace. And Presley sides out for the Bears.
Again, a play we see over and over and over again. Thompson drawing the middle block, drawing Herrera up, making sure that Presley is able to have a nice, clean attack. But you've got to look at the way that Piper Mock has set that block. She was way too far inside, and Presley took advantage of it.
We're tied at 10 in this third set. Baylor looking for the sweep. Texas has already won today over West Virginia. Hunt sacrifices her body for that dig, and her team wins the point.
And again, what was Iowa State expecting to happen? You knew where the ball was going to be. You know how aggressive Presley attacks the ball. They were just waiting for that play to play out. Nobody moved their feet. You cannot underestimate how dynamic Presley is, and so much fun to watch.
A little miscommunication there for Iowa State. It worked out okay, though. They stayed in the rally, but there's just no answer for Presley right now. We'll see if Iowa State takes a timeout to try to talk about it. And that's exactly what happens. Christy Lynch-Johnson finally, Christy Johnson-Lynch jumps up and takes a timeout as she needs to figure out a way to stop Presley at the moment. And the Bears in general, they lead by 2 over Iowa State. We have an interesting dynamic tonight. Hannah Locken, the setter for Baylor, number 14 in white, is from Iowa, and Avery Rhodes, in your picture with the white headband on in that left side, is from here in Waco. So Rhodes has been here in Texas a lot lately, playing TCU. among other schools here in Texas, and so her family gets to see her play quite a bit when she comes to Texas, as well as University of Texas.
Now you see Locken with that second ball over. She tried it in the first set unsuccessfully, but again, the trajectory at which the ball needs to travel, not necessarily getting a lot of air, just a nice quick shoot to that corner.
That was tough. Wow, what a nice play by Mock. It was really her only option there, and she made the most of it.
Setters exchanging points, and you're right, that was her only option. The ball traveled too far to her right side.
Mock had 8 kills against Kansas State. That is a big number for a setter. 4 contacts there by Iowa State, point to Baylor. Baylor going for the sweep. Again, Baylor has only lost 8 sets the entire season. They've won 54 total sets in their 19 matches, but losing 8 sets this season, 6 of them have been since the loss to Texas October 23rd. So this would be a nice rebound and reset for the Bears if they could sweep Iowa State here in Waco today.
Nice pickup by Thomas in the block.
Hunt keeps it alive. And Milana just cannot clear that antenna. Point Iowa State.
Kind of a little helter-skelter volleyball right there for Baylor. The offense, already knowing that they're out of system, needs to be a nice, high, easy ball, not necessarily trying to do something that's not an opportunity to deliver there. Too much to handle.
Oh, you could feel it. I mean, that just reverberated around the arena.
You absolutely can, and even though that ball was set a little bit low, you see her dropping her left shoulder to make sure that she has an angle and a play at the ball.
Rhodes close to having a kill. Good save by the Bear defense. Anderson with a successful attack.
And that's definitely a ball from Anderson that Hunt for Baylor could have handled. You see her just moving, not stopping her feet to get into position. Anderson swinging way too fast for Hunt. You see another good angle. Hunt still moving her feet for the Baylor defense.
Baylor up by 3 in this critical third set. If Baylor wins the set, match is over. If Iowa State wins it, we go to a 4th. It's a 25 win by 2. That is out. I don't know if she mishit that or was hoping for a touch. Did not work out.
You know, at every given contact, you kind of wonder what the decision-making process was for that individual. And there was nothing I can think of for Shelly Stafford to put that ball out.
Hey, I mean, sometimes you're human, right? It just happens.
It just happens. Sometimes it is what it is.
Yeah. Locken back to serve after that service error by Iowa State. Again, she's the player from Iowa. Oh, nice shot. Right into the open corner.
Well, everybody on Baylor was hoping that Locken was in the net. Excuse me. Piper Mock was in the net for Iowa State, so they got caught watching a little bit.
Holdhouse, very cerebral shot. Iowa State within 1. Milana tools the block, and the Baylors move in front by 2.
You get Iowa State, you get the block. Needing to press over, it's almost like Annie Hatch pulled her hands down on that block.
Wolf setting Vandermark, and she's blocked. Rhodes getting the block. She had 10 blocks earlier this year against Ole Miss and was the defensive player of the week in the conference.
Again, Vandermark not used to those high balls. You see that Annie Hatch and Avery Rhodes were there, able to set their feet, press over.
Schuler with the miss. Again, she's the most lethal server for Iowa State, so that's a blessing for the Bears to immediately side out off her serve. Stafford serving for Baylor. Baylor up 18-16, third set. No touch. And I think we may have a challenge from Iowa State. No touch was called. Christy Johnson-Lynch asking her players if they felt like there was a touch.
Of sticking with the hitters. The placement of the ball is not necessarily going well for Iowa State.
Vandermark down the line.
Vandermark has had a phenomenal game thus far. That's her 10th kill on the match. And most of her attacks have been aiming to cross court, but you see, you give her an inch of line and she will take it. Annie Hatch nowhere to be found.
And that was a really big deal for Vandermark, Jennifer, because that is a career high for her. Her first match as a Bear with 10 kills. And I have to think it's not going to be the last. I think she'll be resetting that career high quite often over the next few years.
And I believe adding her has been a true test of what this Baylor offense can do, not just for Presley, but for everyone else.
Tuesday at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. We have the exclusive reveal of the first college football playoff top 25 rankings of the season. It'll be live from Madison Square Garden. It'll be in between the basketball games of the Champions Classic. So after the Kansas-Duke game and before the Michigan State-Kentucky game, Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom. They'll have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Rob Mullins. So that's the exclusive reveal of the first college football playoff top 25 Tuesday night.
Lots of reveals.
Yeah.
How about that?
Revealing a lot today this week, yeah.
Pee-wee's Playhouse, word of the day is reveal.
Again, Vandermark's just set a career high with 10 kills. Presley leads the match with 18. Holthouse for Iowa State not far behind her with 15. And it's not one of those cases, Jennifer, where players are getting a lot of kills off of a lot of swings and making errors. It's pretty clean.
And pretty beautiful. Again, you have got to expect that Presley is the dynamic player that she is. But I just did not anticipate how accurate the delivery to her is and how Iowa State has just not been able to stop her.
That was Holthouse getting the kill for her 16th. She's hitting 333 in the match. Presley hitting 400 and Vandermark 368. Error gives the point to Baylor. Baylor now 3 points away from a sweep. Baylor has done a fantastic job of impressing the selection committee with their body of work, the non-conference schedule they played, the impressive wins they had over Wisconsin, Hawaii, Marquette, Creighton, Missouri, Oklahoma, UCLA. And they will play Texas here on November 20th for the ultimate test deep into the season, which could have national implications. Iowa State still in this set. So the Cyclones, if you're a Cyclone fan, hang in there. We saw them come back from multiple set points down in the last set. And Presley trying to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Same play over and over again for the Baylor offense. The execution, it would seem as though they're trying to work on something that is new to their artillery and their offense, but time and time again, they pull the middle in front, setting a double quick outside to Presley.
Baylor looking for a match point at the conclusion of this. Holthouse misses. It is match point Baylor. Baylor looking to go to 19-1 to start the season. They would be the number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament if it started today, according to the selection committee. And Baylor, with its first strong performance since that loss to Texas, comes out and demolishes Iowa State in straight sets, a sweep